All right, I got a little time here. I'm not completely burned out today, so we're going to go to the next segment of the board meeting. But before we do that, let's just, I had a little problem with my pal Rippy today, Rippy the Republican. Let's talk about this little. There's a few things on here today that we can talk about, which are interesting on the scanner. All right. Okay, here it is. Let's talk about this one.
Yes, 1269. I have a white gentleman, blue coat, gray medium. Keeps doing drugs on my bus. I asked him to exit. He told me to kiss his butt and to continue on.
How do you know he's consuming narcotics?
He ducks his head down and you can hear him sniffing through the straw. And then he pulls his head up and you can see the straw sticking to his nose.
Okay, so we're just assuming. How is his behavior other than that?
I'm not assuming that he's doing it. I know he's doing it. He's been ducking his head for the last minute while I've been sitting here.
How is his behavior other than that?
He's just sitting there staring at me now.
Alright, well just leave him be and just continue on. And if he reacts in any other way that requires any attention, you can call back.
Perfect. So I just want it noted that it's okay for anybody to do drugs on the bus. Thank you. Thank you guys for looking out for us.
All right, now, okay, there was another call after that. I mean, Jason told him to drive because you need a cop to deal with this. Okay, I just went through this yesterday on the board meeting. Okay, we talked about this. TRIMET inspectors cannot deal with this kind of crime, and the police are not going to show up. They're only going to show up if there's a threat of violence or actual violence. Now, this driver doesn't understand these things because he's not paying any attention to the politics around the transit agency in Portland. So he didn't get what he wanted. I don't know what he wanted. He wanted somebody to come out there and get him off the bus because he was doing drugs. Well, that's all very nice, but there's nobody going to come out. So that's why Jason told him to just drive. Now, he called back later. I'm not going to play the call. If you want to hear it, you'll go to the blog. But and said he was feeling sick about all this. But the drivers really, I listen to this. It's my entertainment package, and these drivers, they just don't really understand that it's not your job to worry what people are doing unless they're interfering with you and the operation of the bus or interfering with other people on the bus with a threat of violence. The rest of it is got to be ignored. You just have to ignore it. You're going to get all upset. You're going to make yourself get upset because you can't get what you want. Well, that's just too bad. You're there to drive the bus. Now, Rippy got all crazy on me on this one and said, well, you just think it's okay for people doing drugs. I didn't say that, Rippy. I said, I used to drive the 58 way back when it went to North Terminal. And people would always jump on my bus at the Greyhound station as I was heading back out. And they would do drug deals in the bus. I mean, it's obvious to me. And they'd hop off somewhere down Pioneer Square. And it happened virtually every day. But I didn't. What am I going to do about it? I don't care. I'm not there to patrol society. And the people that think that they're going to change society really need to get a reality check. Okay, you're not going to change society. So, I mean, I know you don't like it. I don't like it. Nobody likes it, but that's the way it is. There was a great line on The Wire. If you ever seen the show The Wire on HBO, it's Marlowe has this interaction with a security guard. And the security guard gives him shit because he stole some candy. And Marlowe says to him, "You want it one way." And the security guard goes, "What?" And he says, "You want it one way." He says, "Don't. What do you mean you want? What are you saying to me?" He goes, "You want it one way, but it's the other way." And then he walked away with the candy, and he has his gang behind him. So just because you want something your way doesn't mean you're going to get it your way. And the faster you get that through your head, the easier you're going to survive through that job. Now, there's one other thing here that I wanted to play because I thought it was an interesting. Let's see if I can find it. Let's see if I can find it. What was the other? I think it was a 12. Okay. All right, it was a 2072. So where's the other 20? Let's see here. Okay, here. Now listen to this.
Hey, this is 2001. Had an interesting situation over at the medical center with an ADA person. Guy in a wheelchair, but he did not have the ability to get himself onto the bus by himself. He said bus drivers isn't helping him get on and off the bus. I'm not willing to do that because I like my job and I want to keep it. And I tried to talk over the options with him, and I left him there.
Okay, and he's just waiting for any 20 or just the 20 to rush?
He's actually trying to get to Adventist Hospital, it sounds like, down at around 102nd, like where the 15 goes. And I tried to explain how to get there to him via bus, but really he needs like medical transport or Lyft or something.
Okay, and he's at the hospital stop, correct?
That is correct. So
Okay, so he just left him there, and it's his right to do that. But next up,
2073. 2073.
this is 2073. I'm in the middle of getting a wheelchair on my bus. What's up?
All right, well, that's what I was calling about. I was going to tell you that be careful with that. The other driver said they couldn't board on their own accord, and if they can't do that, we can't take responsibility for that. I can't have you getting hurt because TRIMET is not going to take care of you if you get injured in that situation. So make sure that person knows that.
Okay, well, I got him on the bus, and he's going to have to get off, I guess. I'll let him know.
I mean, if you've got him on and boarded and you want to take him to Gresham, but just let him know that they have to be able to get on their own accord. It's not your responsibility. I know you've got a kind heart. It's not your responsibility to push them and get yourself injured. We had this happen with another operator last week, and they injured their shoulder. So I just want you to be aware, okay?
Okay, thanks for the information.
all right. Now the reason I'm playing that clip because this is the dichotomy you're going to get at TRIMET. Somebody like me would have pushed him on the bus without a second thought. Somebody asked for help, they got it, unless it was some giant wheelchair that was so heavy I couldn't push it. I mean, if you have a giant electric wheelchair, I wouldn't have been able to help. But I would always help people on and off the bus. And the reason I bring this clip up, because this is a very good indication of what you're going to get when you ride public transportation. Some drivers are not going to do anything for you. Some drivers don't like people. Other drivers will go out of their way to help you. And it's completely up to the driver how you're going to get treated. There is no standard driver behavior. Every driver approaches this job differently and does it their own way. We call them kill them all drivers and save them all drivers. So the first driver was a kill them all driver. I'm not going to risk my job for you. Too bad if you die in a ditch. The second guy, well, I'll certainly help you get on the bus and take you where you want. And this is the way the transit operates. And that's why I wanted to play it, because this is how it works, Some drivers get along well with people and help people. Other drivers hate people and don't want to do things for people. And that's what you should always expect when you're riding transit, not just in TRIMET, but everywhere. Because it's the same thing everywhere. The bus driver that you have is how the service you'll get. And every driver is different. Okay, with that said, let's see what we got.
Transportation District of Oregon, amending Chapter 14 of the TRIMET Code to revise the definition of net earnings from self-employment. This is
All right. This is this tax thing, and let me read a little bit. Let me read. This stuff is really over my head, but let's read a little bit of it. TRIMET self-employment and payroll taxes are required to conform to state laws that govern transit district taxes. State law defines most of the terms used in the TRIMET tax ordinances. In addition, ORS whatever freezes the meaning of net earnings from self-employment to the definition under Section 1402 of the Internal Revenue Code of 1986. However, ORS also gives TRIMET the authority to adopt its own definitions of the terms that are used in the federal definition. So, I mean, you're talking about bureaucracy here. TRIMET has historically chosen to incorporate by reference the federal definitions of the terms used in defining net earnings from self-employment to all cases. Federal law changes frequently, however, and Oregon's Constitution prohibits any local government from simply adopting future amendments of federal law and local ordinances. Therefore, it is necessary to update TRIMET's ordinance to reconnect to the federal definitions. TRIMET's Tax Council, of course, they contracted that out. I mean, they don't do anything themselves there, everything. I don't even know why they have a staff. Why do they actually have their own attorneys when they contract out all the stuff? Reviews recent federal tax legislation on TRIMET's behalf to determine whether there have been significant changes. Tax Council has determined that with the exception of certain provisions in the Consolidation Appropriations Act and the American Rescue Plan, that's fucking, I love the way they title these things with titles that makes you think that they're actually like they're not rescuing you, they're rescuing business. Extending or modifying of the CARES Act, you didn't get anything out. What did you get? You got a $1,400 check and your $2,000. You got more under Trump than you got under Biden. But the CARES Act went to all of this stuff goes primarily to the upper class. Congress has not passed legislation to date that potentially affects the measurement of net earnings. So this just goes on and on. I mean, who wants to read this? I mean, who knows? I'm not going to read any more of this. It's way over my head.
the second reading.
Thank you. Mr. General Manager, following the first reading of this ordinance and public hearing in December, do you wish to
had a public hearing in December? I don't remember any public hearing. Do you? They publish them I think they publish them in the Business Journal, and you have to be a subscriber to that to see anything. And nobody comments on this stuff. This is secret society stuff.
Any other comments for the record?
I do, President Simmons, and board. As you mentioned, this is procedural, an annual housekeeping item. It reconnects TRIMET code to the federal tax code, providing clarity for taxpayers and the IRS.
I'm sure.
I ask for your approval.
Oh boy, thanks, Dan. That was a really great
Thank you.
explanation.
Do any board members have comments or further discussion regarding Ordinance 365?
There are no hands raised.
Okay, I will then ask General Counsel Shelley Devine to hold a roll call vote.
Yeah, so.
Thank you again, President Simmons. I will start again with Director Baumann.
Yes.
Director Edwards.
Yes.
Director Lewis.
Yes.
Director Gonzalez.
Yes.
Oh,
Director Kim.
this time he said yes instead of I. Attaboy.
Yes.
Director Way.
Yes.
And Director Simmons.
Yes.
What a shock that is! I had no idea they were going to vote yes on this. It's just a complete shock. All right, good. We're over and out for this episode. See you on the next one.